Welcome to the June 8, 2023 meeting of the Council on Aging Board of Directors, a special committee meeting regarding hiring a COA director. Do I have a call to order? Motion for a call to order.
So moved.
I'm going to
I'll
read
second
them.
it.
Oh, okay.
And what time is it?
It is
9:34.
9:34. I'll read the mission of the Council on Aging. The mission of the Council on Aging is to advocate for Groveland's older adults, to identify their needs, to develop and implement services to meet their health, economic, social, and cultural needs, to encourage maximum independence, and to improve their quality of life. I think before we begin, we will introduce ourselves. So I'm Laurel Pahalski. I'm acting chair, or acting director chair of the board.
Larry McElhenney. I am vice chair of the board, and I chaired the search committee for the director.
I'm Barbara Sanborn, member of the board, and I was also on the search committee for a new director.
I am Marie Waller. I'm a member of the board and also on the committee. For the search.
Irene Thomas, secretary of the board.
Linda Brown, member of the board.
We put together a board of 5 members, 3 of whom are sitting beside me. And I also want to thank Beth Cuniff, who represented Town Hall, and Susan Hancox, who represented the Council on Aging general community. The 5 of us interviewed 3 candidates, 2 of whom have moved forward. We did have a 3rd candidate that we voted to move forward, but that candidate has since withdrawn. And I make a motion that we table the discussion of candidate 3. It's the way to move forward with this, so all in favor? Okay, so we have 2 very highly qualified candidates, and I want actually to take a minute to thank the Groveland voters, because the passage of the override allowed us to advertise for the director position at a higher rate of pay. And I believe, and the board believes, that we were able to attract some candidates that we might not have attracted before. So I appreciate the town helping out the Council on Aging in that way. I know from just overhearing conversations before we started that it's a real toss-up. These candidates we see as highly qualified, very appealing in terms of what they would do for the board, but they have different skill sets and different traits. So I want to just open it up for discussion, and I think that we maybe should take them one at a time and talk about, and then talk about the other one. Anyone willing to start the discussion?
Well, as we talked about earlier, on the search committee, we asked different questions than we asked during our board meeting last week, so I thought I'd go over some of those answers, just in case there was anything that the candidates were not able to bring out during our interviews last week. I'll start with Alyssa. A few things that she mentioned was the importance of building a cohesive team, not only employees of the council, staff members of the Council on Aging, but everyone with whom she works within the town. She had read our newsletter and our mission, and knew about our fundraising background. She also came up with an advocacy plan for 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. And among the things she mentioned doing during those days were gleaning information at first, talking extensively individually with members of the board to see what our priorities and what we see as needs, and that she would go directly to the board if there was an issue, and also to create more programs. She's a very strong HR person. Her focus is to always stay calm and collected, and if you have a meeting with someone, you should leave that meeting with a next step in mind. The mission of the council and budgeting would always be her number one concern behind, advocating for the seniors. She also mentioned that she would work with other council on agings to determine where their strengths and successes were and see if we could learn or share anything with them for that. She has a lot of grant application experience. She keeps a spreadsheet on what applications have been filed, what we got, what commitment did they make to get the grant done, and make sure that that was followed up on. When she moved here to Groveland with her family several years ago, they were looking, one of the things that they were looking for was a good place to retire eventually, and she believes she's found that here in Groveland. And when we asked her a question that she didn't have an immediate answer to, she was not hesitant to take a minute to formulate her answer. And I thought that was good, rather than just, shooting from the hip. She thought about her answers and was well versed. And I think that's it for Alyssa.
Thank you, Barbara. That's what I was going to ask, is if the members of the Director's Search Committee could share what they heard that maybe we didn't. And I think that would help us decide, because I rewatched the meeting of last week, I've looked through the resumes, and need more, because it is a difficult decision. So, Larry, you did say something to me last week, if you want to expound on that.
I probably said a lot of things to you last week when I came on the committee.
No, why don't you share how you felt about Alyssa, since we're discussing her first. She was
Okay.
our first candidate.
First of all, both candidates are very strong. I did the reference checks for both candidates. And when you are asking for a reference check, you know who you're talking to. You're talking to someone who is going to advocate for the candidate. You're not going to find any discouraging words spoken. So my process for talking to a reference, I have a kind of 4 areas that I look at. One is the basics. Are they on time? Do they report for work? Are they dependable? I think about their energy, their intelligence, their organizational skills, their communication skills, writing, listening, speaking, and their personal traits. Are they a team player? How are they in leadership roles and all of that? And generally, I just let people talk. And if there are any points that they don't hit on, I will ask specific questions. And most of the, for these two candidates, very positive. There was nothing that would make me even take a breath. The difference was that one of the references for Sarah is a former...
Sarah or Alyssa?
I mean, for Alyssa, sorry, was a former board member. So she had a board member's point of view.
From here?
No, from
Her other
when she
position.
was a director. And Sarah has been Alyssa has been a director of 3 different organizations. The discussion with the board member went along as you would expect, and then I asked for clarification, and I asked her if she could give me specifics. The conversation turned into a 45-minute conversation, because as a current board member, and Alyssa has not been with this organization, but she had her performance evaluations for 4 years. And in this discussion, she gave me in great detail, from a board member's point of view, how Alyssa took an organization and grew it. in all different aspects of how she was able to do this. So she has experience as a director. She has strong hands-on management experience of grants. She has had supervisory experience in terms of managing a staff and onboarding people. And one of the things that this person talked about specifically was not only did she hire people, but she helped them improve their skills and their performance as they came on as employees. And she's an experienced fundraiser. She is someone who increased the donations and was pretty determined in terms of finding avenues. I mean, it was pretty clear. Sarah,
Well, can we talk about Sarah?
oh, we'll Sarah later,
Can we do
okay,
Sarah?
sure.
I think just so we're not confused.
Yeah,
who's who.
that's fine.
Is that all right?
That's fine, yeah, that's right, that's what I, hold me to what I said.
Thank you.
So,
Anything else you'd like to share?
no, just, as Barbara indicated, she's a new town resident. And I think it'd be a great addition to Town Hall.
Okay. Marie, did you have anything to share that
Well,
you?
They both
Mhm.
covered just about everything, but I agree that she is a strong candidate. I believe that she is here to stay in the town, and I believe that her skills are outstanding. There wasn't one doubt I had in my mind that she wasn't qualified. She was very likable, she distributed, she demonstrated her skills for being a director. She has been director of, in other organizations, and I believe that she would be an excellent fundraiser, as Larry said, and I don't want to be too repetitive, but from what Barbara and Larry said, I agree, and I think she would make a good director.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. One area on which I tend to focus is the area of communication. Alyssa has clearly shown us her proficiency, thoughtfulness, and organization in her application and her cover letter. In addition, clearly she expresses herself well in speaking face-to-face. And the other skill that she clearly has, just evidenced by the wait time that she would give herself before answering a question, is that she is a careful listener. Thoughtful and careful listener. And I echo what everybody else has said.
What he said.
Linda? Ditto.
Oh, I'm glad that I received the information from the three members that were
Thank you.
interviewing the candidates, and I thank you for that, because I knew they were both very strong, and I'm anxious to hear about Sarah also, and thank you for that. It helped.
And one thing that she mentioned many times in her interview with us was that she is a planner. She's a planner, she is a planner, as well as with a personal touch. She said, she likes the personal touch, and also a team player and a team builder. And I think that's what we're really going to need here in the COA. So, again, I'm conflicted between the two. Now, it's like, whoa. Hearing what you three said, but we haven't heard about Sarah yet, so, any other discussion or questions or, I think it's great also about the grant writing, because that's something we need to go forward in doing. there are grants out there that we're not even applying for. So, yeah. Okay, are we ready to discuss Sarah? Or any more, no? Yes? Okay, so let's do the same thing for Sarah. We'll start with the search committee on what you found that's different than what we heard. Or not different, added to what we heard.
Okay. Sarah also interviewed very well. When asked what she would do at first, when she came into the position, she mentioned that she would, she's not a bull in the china shop. She's not shy, but she's not going to come in and reinvent the wheel and offer solutions where there is no problem. That she would support and learn her staff strengths and weaknesses. She has a very strong physical therapy background, which she felt was a good conduit between town and the seniors, and could be here as well. She knew about the turnover that we've had in various positions on the council and in the town. She'd read our newsletter. She was well-versed in that. She had passed out a packet, as she did during our interviews last week, with her 90-day action plan. And she believes in asking the right questions to find out what the needs are here and how to meet them. She's ready to prepare for the tough issues facing the Council on Aging, and her main goal on that was to advocate with the state, with everyone here in town, with the other employees in Town Hall. She has a very strong budgeting background, both municipal and school, where she's on the school committee and on the Board of Selectmen. She believes in communication, having a clear program. She uses a great deal the Mass Council on Aging website, and she has a lot of experience with other Council on Aging directors, and she believes in reaching out to them to find out, what has worked for them as well. And our state representatives, she knows and believes in working with them to try and get, what you can, what you need, and they can certainly help with that. That's about it that I had notes on.
Okay, as far as the reference check, the same procedure, looking for the same things and hearing very positive things about how well organized she was, how intelligent and engaged she was. The references were from people who she worked with in a school setting. I did not, there were no references for any board members or other people in supervisory roles. But I did ask, because it was raised by the search committee, where she is involved in very many things, would she be able to fulfill her obligations for the Council on Aging, and I was solidly reassured by these people that this is a hardworking, multitasking, very well organized and engaged person. And all of them expressed, we would hate to lose her. And that's really what you want to hear from any references. Aside from the reference check, her biggest strength is that town hall connection. And that's an important trait to have in the role as director of the Council on Aging, how to work within the structure of a municipal government. Now, she's been on board. She hasn't been, reporting to work 9 to 5 every day, but there is still a landscape to be able to understand, and the fact that she already has connections with our state reps is a that's not a small item in terms of where some of the grant money comes from. That, to me, is what makes her a very strong candidate.
Marie?
Well, there's not much left for me to say, like the other candidate. I agree both with Larry and Barbara. I think her grant writing skills would be very a positive thing for her, for us, and that, as they both said, she's a go-getter. She knows what she wants. She's well, her plans are well thought out, and she does know a lot of people. And she did say she would dedicate the time required in this position, plus any extra duties she might think would be needed. And I think she would be an excellent fundraiser. And that's really about it, what they said. I think she's also a strong candidate.
Thank you. Okay, now that makes the decision hard. Irene?
This is so hard. Two observations that Sarah shared that really stood out to me is that she often used the word connecting. And at one point, she said connecting with people is the guts of this work, which we observe is true. And then another statement she made that I respect is that she talked about it's important to read the person, read the situation, read the needs, read what exists already, and then adapt. So she expressed and gave some evidence in her interview that she can do that, read the situation and then adapt. But that's not just connected to her. Alyssa seemed to communicate the same, which makes this decision so hard.
Thank you.
I'm getting there. I found the difference between the two is personalities, which I weighed that out also. But you can't say enough about both of them, as we are well aware. And I just feel it's going to be a very difficult decision. It's getting there, and it will be done today. And I think we're very fortunate, as you say, to have both these candidates in our midst to choose from. And that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, the big take, again, like Irene said, when I spoke, or when Sarah was being interviewed by us, making the connections and advocating. And I like the idea that she said, I'm not going to come and just, if a program needs modifying, I'm not just going to collect data. I'm going to ask the why, get to know the room, get to know the individuals, and then go from there, rather than just collecting data and you get, 5 people fill out a survey, and, oh, we're going to do this, this is how we're changing it. So she seems like she, would do her research well before doing anything. It's jumping in. Get to know the town. She mentioned that. She's the newcomer in the town. Get to know the town. And also that she, the advocacy that she spoke of, which, with her present job, how she advocates for the people she works with, and that she would do that for the seniors. So I agree, it's a really difficult decision. I thought I knew, kind of knew, like I was leaning, 51-49. Now it's like, oh, I don't know. So I guess we do want to make this, oh, do you have
Can I make a
something? Yes,
suggestion?
please.
Because this is such a hard decision, and both candidates are so qualified and both would contribute greatly. I was wondering if it's worth, we keep saying that we are looking for somebody who can fulfill our needs, the COA needs. If we identify those, I'm wondering if that might shed some light on who can better fill the precise needs we have. Or another route we might take would be to look at the COA mission statement and kind of evaluate each of the applicants based on that. Maybe there would be a glimmer of one nosing ahead at the end of this race, or not.
It's a good suggestion. I mean, I have the mission statement in here in front of me, if we want to work it that way, or should we sit as a board and say, what are we looking for, you know, over and beyond the job description which was posted? What do we feel that this Groveland COA needs, over and beyond, you know, we need a this and a that, you know?
Yeah, we all have the missions.
Larry has something to say.
Yeah, I wonder if we should take a vote first, to see.
Okay.
And see if it's a,
And
okay.
see-
And we're going to do a paper ballot like we did last time we voted for, one, pass one down. And see, I mean, it may be,
And can I request that when the votes are tallied, we just say the score and not who won, and then we can continue with the discussion? I mean, in other words, if it's 6-0 in favor of one candidate, discussion over.
right.
But if it's 3-3, then
Right,
we
okay.
try to convince each other.
I'll tell you what, we'll put the name down and we'll send it down to you.
All right.
Putting a name.
Not our name, no, no, no,
No.
no. Who you would vote for, yeah, okay. And then fold it up in 10 million little pieces.
Where are we sending them?
Down to Larry. Or, can I vote twice? Or I can abstain.
I feel like I'm watching Survivor. They're telling you the votes.
Right. Does it have to
We have a
be?
unanimous decision.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh.
I am shocked.
Really?
I am shocked.
I'm shocked also.
Yeah, someone want to check the, make sure.
I kind of saw from down here, I could see.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
That means
thank you,
that's the way
board.
it should be, right?
I mean, so,
I'm
do you
not
want
doubting
to
you, but-
announce?
Sure. Our new director is, I want to make sure I get the right name. You know how I am with names. Our new director is Alyssa Lee.
Congratulations, Alyssa, if you're watching. And I mean,
I'm very shocked.
I'm shocked because
Me too.
Sarah is, yeah. I
So-
want both, you know, do we have the money to hire both?
I know,
Yeah,
exactly.
well, in my dream scenario, we would have hired Sarah as director, and Alyssa would have taken the job of Friends president.
But I think, you know, I think she'll work well with the Friends.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Well,
Oh, wow.
That's,
I can't-
And each of us probably has a different reason that convinced us, because Linda and I were talking yesterday, and we never mentioned any names, because we were both volunteering in the pantry. And we kept saying 50-50, then we think 51-49. And then you watch, you know, you read more, you watch the interviews again, and the 51-49 keeps shifting.
changing.
But it's so close.
okay.
And yeah, and I don't think we should discuss why we decided
No,
No.
one over the
definitely
other,
not.
so-
I'm just.
Right, yeah. That can be over coffee with you sometime.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you all. And discussion. So, speaking,
So
oh,
what happens next? Alyssa says you never leave a meeting without knowing the next step, so what's the next step?
The next step is the outreach worker. Where are we with that?
well, with
Oh, yes.
Alyssa, we need to call her.
Mhm.
And do you want to, or do you want me to?
We can talk about it after the
Okay,
meeting.
and invite her to that
Mhm.
tonight, if she can come.
Oh,
Okay, so the other one, that the other decision we have to make is on our outreach coordinator. We had an applicant, her name is Janet Delmar. She is presently the outreach coordinator in Newbury. She's worked there for 7 years. She answered all of our questions very well. One of the things that I gotta find my notes now, where is it? She spoke a lot about knowing your boundaries, knowing, I don't know where they went, anyway, knowing your boundaries, getting to know the individuals. She understands the workings, all the available resources, which she said is where if she were to be hired, she'd be working in a different town, so she would have to learn our resources. They're different than, Newbury's, the big things like, Mass COA and, that kind of thing, or age span is different, but, who are our local doctors, who are our dentists, who are, to use as references for people. She gave me 3 references. One I have not yet heard from, but like you were saying before, you're not going to give a reference name for someone who's not going to give you a good reference. And that person I have not heard from was the chief of police in Newbury. So, she's giving high off. The first reference I spoke to is Maggie Malley, and she hired Janet when she was the director of Newbury. She no longer is the director, and she said she's reliable, dedicated to the clients, easygoing, passionate, creative. She needs a teamwork environment, a give and take, and to make sure that everyone is feeling supported. And she mentioned that in her interview, that's what she does. She's great at problem solving, has good boundaries, again, the boundaries again, and she's creative in her problem solving. The second person was Susan Karp, who is the MCOA oversight educator of all the outreach coordinators in the state. And she's done that job for 3.5 years. She has over 120 people, staff members, outreach coordinators that attend her, I guess it's monthly meetings and workshops, that type of thing. Janet regularly attends the meeting. She knows how to connect with people. She's a team player, again. She contributes to the discussions, again, boundary setting. And she is continuing in her education, which is great for the community. And both of these people were just like so positive about Janet. I had a good feeling of her. I actually knew her from before, but that, not in that capacity. She was my water aerobics instructor, but a couple of years ago. She has a wealth of experience. I think you all did see her resume, correct? Yes. So we spoke on the Personnel Committee, which consisted of Larry, myself, and Irene. We spoke that pending her references, she would be a good fit. So it's up to the board, I think. We could just, I guess, we're going to recommend her to the selectmen to hire, but I think I'd like to hear from the board if you want to wait to get another candidate in, or...
We've been waiting
go
for another
it. I know,
candidate.
go for it.
So-
Just so you know, our interim outreach coordinator, Maureen Lealock, is not interested in the position. So we checked with that too first. She's, not interested in the position. So this is our candidate, and I think, again, thank you, town, for voting the override, because I think that's what attracted such a high high-quality candidate. Did you have anything to share from your?
I would like to add that it's very clear that Janet is dedicated to serving and supporting seniors. I appreciated her having a sense of humor. It's very clear that she believes in using her resources, human resources, business resources, print resources. She believes in she believes, again, that the guts of the job is connecting and communicating. And she talked a lot about boundaries, keeping confidentiality, listening, connecting with other community resources like police and fire. And at one point, she said, that I wrote down 3 words, or 4 words, heard what she said. That she was talking about an experience she'd had with a senior, and she listened, and she heard what she said, and then they moved on to try to find solutions to the situation together. And I thought that was worthy work for an outreach person.
Very good. Larry, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I feel kind of like Linda right now, that everything's been said, and I don't have much to add, although I did glean a bit of information, which I think is really true for people as we age, is we have the right to make a bad decision.
That's right.
And, you know, in terms of how we age. And I thought that was very, very sharp observation. I think our last meeting, Irene talked about how we're trying to fit together the pieces of the puzzle. And I think with the 2 hirings that we have today, we're in really good position. If we can only get the van up right running, I think we'll be literally running on all cylinders. I'm pleased with where we are right now. We've come a long way, baby.
Oh, yes. And all thanks to everyone here working, too, and to the town for, I think without that raise in money, we wouldn't have had
Right.
the candidates we have had. Yes,
I just had a
Barbara?
question. When you were interviewing Janet, what did you tell her were the hours and the days for the position?
Okay, we checked with Nisha before we met, and actually Nisha
I know.
was in the interview with us. So she got to, and so that was good. So she had suggested that Tuesday, 4 hours for Tuesday, 9 to 1, because on Tuesday, you'd have to be here by 11, is it?
Our neighbor's table order has to be called in by 11.
By
Or
11.
submitted online by 11.
Right. So Tuesday, 9 to 1, Wednesday, 9 to 3, or, 9 to 3, and Thursday, 9 to 3. So that would bring it up to 16 hours. 16 to 4, yeah. And that's what it said in the
Posting.
job posting, up to 18 hours, but when we checked, it's only been funded for 16, and we do not want to get into that whole, let's pay by grant and all, and I think with the amount of money that's being offered per, and she knows what it is, and she knows it's 16 hours, I think, that's a pretty good start for a part-time
Good.
position.
I'm glad, because
Yeah.
Nisha had, had her concerns about what days and hours. So the
Yes,
fact that she
yes.
was there, I think that's really good.
Yes.
Right.
So we double-checked before we met, like, how much, because it says 18, and we thought it was only 16, and, this position, or any of these part-time positions, you cannot work more than 19 hours. So if if we did have her work, we'd have to fund it with grant money, and we're really trying to avoid doing that. We've been there, done that, let's not get into that whole thing again. So, Good question, though.
So I move that we hire Janet is it Del Mar or Del Mare?
Well, it's
Del
Del Mar.
Mare.
Well, she
Mare.
says the real way is Del Mare. but
Right. Oh,
Del
we're
Mar,
gonna-
I
we're
think
gonna
she'll,
be
she's going
authentic
by
here.
Del Mar. Del Mare, okay.
Just call her Janet.
Janet.
So I move that we hire Janet Del Mare.
I second it.
Okay. All in favor? Do we need to take a paper vote?
No, there's
no,
just
Because
one
it's only
candidate.
one candidate, so it's yes or no.
Was it unanimous?
Unanimous.
Unanimous, yes. Thank you.
You want to bring up the
Whew.
minutes?
I can sleep tonight. Hopefully.
No, I really, the word that kept coming to me and that I forgot to say about Janet is understanding. She has a good understanding of the work, the position, the requirements, aging, how to talk with seniors, how to listen with seniors. Just under, a real depth of understanding.
Definitely. And another thing, when you're saying about communication, because I was the one who asked her for the references, she's been in communication. Have you received them yet? You know.
Oh, nice.
But, yeah, she's done a follow-up, and I think she's eager to come and work for us. So I'm glad we made the
Starting
decision.
date.
We did not, she.
2-week notice?
Yeah, two-week
Two-week
notice. So I think by July 1st, definitely, we will have.
Will be.
We could have a new group. A real Independence Day here?
Celebrate.
Oh, yeah, well, that's it. So, yeah, and then 4th of July is that first one. So it wouldn't start right away. But anyway, in July. But I think starting the new fiscal year, we'll be all set to go. That's my thought anyway.
I'm sorry, I should have asked this earlier. How are we going to communicate with Sarah? Phone call, letter, email?
I will talk.
Okay.
We'll figure it out after. That
All right.
doesn't need to be done
Okay,
on camera.
all right, yes.
If I could, I would just like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the search committee meetings on May 25th and May 30th.
Well, we weren't there.
Yeah.
No, but I
So it
emailed
would
them.
be, yes, I don't know, I mean, they look fine, but I wasn't there, so we can't vote on a meeting that we were not present at. So
We'll
you
have
are, you three
Our quorum.
are the quorum of
Right.
the five.
Okay.
So it would be you three voting. We could get Beth in here if you wanted, but
Yeah,
do you understand where I'm saying?
Yep,
Where
yep.
we're not present at the meeting, we can't vote for it.
Okay.
But the full board meeting that we had last week, we could approve those.
That one we can, yes. But that,
They're not-
Irene did those,
I
and we're not
haven't-
ready yet,
I
no.
haven't shown them to you yet.
No,
That will
those
be-
we will vote at the board
21st.
meeting. Right.
And we'll have a closure meeting for the search committee.
Okay.
We'll attach it to upcoming board meeting.
All right.
That's where it should be approved, approve them there, and then, close out the committee or
Disband.
disband the committee. Anyone else have anything else?
What's on the discussion?
Other.
Okay.
I have one other thing for anyone who is interested, I think you are, Barbara, in attending the Community Stakeholder Committee. Were you planning to go to that meeting today?
Is it a Zoom meeting or
It
is
is a Zoom meeting now, because it was supposed to be here at 1, but now it's a Zoom meeting. I can send you the link.
I can do it for about an hour. I do have a commitment at about 2:15, so. yeah.
Okay, I'll send you the link when
Okay.
I get home. Yeah, it was, for some reason, all my emails from this person who's in charge go into my junk mailbox. And last night, my husband was like, I cleaned out my trash in my junk folder, and I said, I should do that, and there it was. I'm like, well, it's a Zoom meeting. I would have showed up here at 1 o'clock waiting to go. So now she's in my contacts, so it will come automatically. Okay, that we had. What else? Oh, well, I guess our next meeting will be on June 21st at 9:30. And the next Friends meeting is on, when did I have it? July 13th at 3 PM.
July 13th?
That's what I have.
Okay.
Am I right?
They
I will
changed
not-
it because of
not
people
be able to
being
make
away
that.
on the 4th or something.
Right. Am I correct?
Yeah, I believe you are.
I have it written down from that meeting.
Yes.
So, okay, but I don't have it in my calendar.
Actually, I
so-
do have it.
Okay, so, yeah. Other than that, Any other business that should come before us today? Oh, now, well, okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second. All in favor? At 10:19. That was such a productive meeting.
I know,
Yay. Thank you, guys.
Unanimous.
Thank you,
Okay.
Chris.